Welcome back, WagerTalk TV. I'm your host, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, joined by Tony Finn and Brian Leonard. Both are found at WagerTalk.com as well. Quick reminder also, we have a special promo going on right now. You get a 50% discount on any daily package if you'd like to try it out at WagerTalk.com or SportsMemo.com. Just use code DAILY50, DAILY50 for half price on any daily package. Brian Leonard, let me start with you on this NFL matchup for Sunday between the Chiefs and Dolphins. I guess you could say the surprising Miami Dolphins having a solid 8-4 season, looking good for a playoff berth here. Kansas City Chiefs, 99% plus chance of making the playoffs as the defending Super Bowl champs right now at 11-1. A tough matchup here, laying a full touchdown. And not only do they have to go to Miami, Brian, but they have a big look ahead on deck at New Orleans next week. Even though it's a non-conference game, that'll be one of the best games next week. Meanwhile, the Dolphins have a divisional home game next week against the Patriots. Brian Leonard, what's your take on this one? Right now, we're seeing the Dolphins, once again, is about a 7-point home dog. Total's pretty high. It's around 49.5 in most locations.
Yeah, we're taping on Tuesday here, and some money's coming in on Miami. It was 7.5 earlier, now down to 7. I could see that a little bit out of the way the Chiefs have played lately. They've been no bargains if you've been backing the Chiefs. Sure, they're winning their games, but winning margins have only been by 6, 3, 4, and 2 the last 4 games. Kansas City's passing game remains elite. The running game is still a concern. One of the things in football that tell you winner from loser is who's going to win the turnover battle. And on the season, Kansas City has only lost the turnover battle one time, and that was in a 2-point home win over Carolina. You mentioned the big game on deck against New Orleans. That's probably, at least in my opinion at this point, that could be a Super Bowl preview right there. It looks like these are the two best teams as of right now in my own mind. Coming into this weekend. And, Miami's been hot. They won 7 of 8, the only loss being by 7 points at Denver. But take a look at the last few teams that Miami has played. This is a big step up after playing Cincinnati, the Jets, Denver, and the Chargers. And we talked in the prior video about yards per gain, what your defense allows, what you produce. Miami on the season only producing 3.6 yards a carry, allowing 4.8. That's kind of scary right there, minus 1.2 yards per carry per running play. They've gone 7 straight games without producing a 300-yard passing game. I hear Tua is going to be back starting this week. He's got more of an upside, obviously, but if you're in it to win it this year, I don't think they can win it with Tua. If the line continues to go down, it's right now at 7. If we go down below 7, I may be on Kansas City here. This is a team in Kansas City. Anytime they've played a team that looks to be somebody that they can meet in the playoffs or somebody they need to prove themselves against, they play very well. So I would look for Kansas City to come out firing in this game. And I think Miami's a little bit overrated at this point.
Yeah, Brian, it's really interesting you mentioned how they've been winning but not covering because 3 weeks ago I started a new segment here on Wager Talk TV where I do the 3 most public NFL plays of the week. So I'll be doing it again this week, and be sure to check Wager Talk TV for the 4th edition of that video. But so far, the first 3 weeks playing against those public teams has gone 9-1 against the spread. And all 3 weeks, the Kansas City Chiefs have been one of those 3 most public plays. And all 3 weeks, they won straight up but failed to cover. And we've had a couple others. So actually, I think in 5 of the 10 games now, the team has won up but not covered, won straight up but not covered. The only one that has covered so far was the Packers last week against the Eagles. They almost didn't cover that as well. They were up by 7 late and got that breakaway touchdown. So basically the point is that, these very public teams like the Chiefs, the number is inflated. So it's interesting, Tony, that it's coming down, as Brian said, from 7.5 to 7 now, because I don't think that's public money early in the week. The public doesn't play early, and they sure have been backing the Chiefs. Yet, Tony, they're 0-3 backing the Chiefs the last 3 weeks as a very public play. At some point, you burn the public once, twice, 3 times a charm maybe. Could there actually be value with Kansas City, Tony, if he gets to 6.5 or less by kickoff, like Brian was saying it might?
There could be. I've been talking to this point, and I don't think I've spoke to it with you, Brian, or with you, Steve, on any shows either. But I'm of the belief, and I'm not an Area 51 stalker. Really, I'm not, even though I talk about it periodically. And I like the fact that somebody might let me in someday. I will go. But I'm of the firm believer that Andy Reid believes in the process that they have in Kansas City. He believes in their drafting, their ability to assess players. They were very, very staunch and in hindsight, obviously very, very ahead of the game and smart to have basically traded up to get Mahomes, and who Andy uses to put his playbook together and really engineer and orchestrate and choreograph the playbook they have now aren't just the coaches on his staff. They're ex head coaches around the league. And long story short is that I believe that Andy is not showing in the preseason. If you're they're 6-6, I think, against the spread. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think they are, and they haven't covered lately. But long story is now, especially the last few weeks, that he's not going to show. He's so confident in this offense and so confident in Patrick Mahomes. And despite what the public or you two may feel, I don't know. I have never heard you speak to it, and that is he's confident in Spags also not showing everything that they could show and doing just enough to win games. And in fact, what game it was, I can't remember what game it was. I think it was well, I'll just speak to it. Is that they asked Andy Reid after the game. It was a game they had to come back from behind and ask him if he would have kicked the field goal as opposed to going didn't have time to score a touchdown. And his words were, and there was a minute and a half left on the clock. He said, Pat can get down the field 20 seconds. Funny, this last game against Denver, they kind of messed around a little bit in the first half. If you guys remember, if you watched it at all, there was about 33 seconds left in the game after Denver had kicked the field goal in the first half. And they went 69 yards in 23 seconds. And it's almost, I don't have any evidence, but I've kind of been compiling some of what they're doing, the plays they're calling, and they're doing things out of character. Listen, they were, if you remember last week, guys, I think they were second and goal from the 2-foot line or a half a yard, and they almost ran a double reverse with Hill when you're a foot and a half from the end zone. And again, you guys have both mentioned it. They are a public team, and I don't know that losing its spread is going to change that. I think they're a public team for lots of reasons, and one of them is Patrick Mahomes and the fact that he's likable, he's intelligent, he's articulate. He goes with the flow for the most part. I don't think you can bother the kid. I don't blame him. I wouldn't blame him one bit. You couldn't bother me if I was Patrick Mahomes. But I don't believe this team is showing everything they show, especially if they play divisional games, because Andy Reid and his staff are thinking ahead. I mean, Denver's going to be Denver again. I have to believe that Denver, even with Elway as the GM, is going to be good again at some point in time and competing in the next 3 or 4 years with Patrick Mahomes. I don't know the Locke's the guy, but for division titles. And I know I haven't spoken much about this game because this is what I've said. The Chiefs will win by as many points as they want to win by. And that's the bottom line. As good as Miami, I think as good as Miami's, they have have the best cornerback tandem in football after the trade they made this offseason. These two guys are, as far as completion rate, percentages, et cetera, for quarterbacks within their zones, are two of the best last year, two of the best this year. And again, the Chiefs, guys, they win. It's like a 30-point dog in college football. How many times have you been asked, do you think this team can cover? I think all three of us have answered, well, they're going to win by as many as they want to win by. Do they want to cover? We don't, unless you have the inside information, they're going to win by as many as they want to win by, guys. That's my opinion of this Chiefs team. I think they're that good offensively, and I think he has just enough trust in the defense to essentially, take a Sunday stroll down the football field. Sunday stroll in the park, Saturday stroll in the park, whatever it is. I think that's what they're doing right now, and I think that'll change. I think at some point in time, now that they're tied for the number one seed, I think they would like to have that. So they may not mess around so much when the fourth quarter rolls around and they only have a 1 or 2 possession lead. But guys will argue. I've already had 4 or 5 people call me when I've told them they've heard me say it, or I've said it to someone else, and they've called me and said, "Oh, you lost your mind." This is the NFL. You got to go out there. You have to win, and you have to, and you can't. Every team's capable. Why would they do that? Well, I just believe it. I believe that they've shown me more than once, and I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. But Kansas City wins this game if they want to by 7. They win this game by 14 if they want to. So,
Brian, what's your take?
Well, I just find it hard to believe that only 4 or 5 people have called Tony and asked him if he's lost his mind.
Well, I'm talking about this game. I'm not
Okay.
I'm not talking
All
about.
right. All right.
For those viewers that we still have remaining on the video after the 10.5 minute mark, I just want to remind them that Daily 50, Daily 50 is the promo code. And just because you sat through this, we're going to give you half price on any package at sportsmemo.com or wagertalk.com, courtesy of Tony Finn, Brian Leonard, and Steve Merrill as well.
Sitcom.
I just like that Tony went on for
sitcom
6 or 7 minutes and said I haven't talked much about this game. At least he's aware of what's going on. But no, it is a serious big matchup though. Miami 9-3, against the spread this year. It's a playoff contender. We'll see if the Chiefs do step up their game now that they're playing one of the big boys in the AFC. But as Brian mentioned, maybe the game of the year is next week, a look ahead against New Orleans as well. So if you're right, Tony, I think it's an interesting point. If Andy Reid is keeping a little in the bag for the postseason, we'll find out because he's got two legitimate contenders here, and not a contender, but a playoff contender in Miami and a championship contender in New Orleans. Once again, Miami Dolphins, or the Kansas City Chiefs, rather, been bet down early this week from 7.5 to now 7 as a road favorite. They started the year 6-2 against the spread. They're now 6-6. So 4 straight weeks they have won but not covered. And as I mentioned, each of the last 3 weeks, they've been one of those most public plays that I've mentioned on my video, the 3 most public plays in the NFL. Daily 50, Daily 50, get you half price on any daily package right now. WagerTalk.com, SportsMemo.com. For Tony Finn, for Brian Leonard, I'm Steve Merrill. Best of luck this week, and we'll talk to you again soon here on Wager Talk TV.